Welcome back to Breakfast Television, everybody. It is 7:14, an absolutely beautiful day here in Edmonton, Alberta, and I'm absolutely delighted and honored to be speaking with via the, I guess, telephone, internet, television. You are in Toronto right now. I want to introduce you to Lisa Kroeger. Lisa Kroeger, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Breakfast Television. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
You have an incredible story, one of courage and strength, and I just said this to you off camera, and I really want to make sure that we point this out now and perhaps at the end, and we can't stress it enough. If this conversation resonates with anybody watching right now and lands, there's a call to action that I think you want to premeditate this entire conversation by putting out there. We're talking about domestic violence. You, of course, have an incredibly courageous tale that you're speaking about, and you've written about, but for 10 years you said you were living a double life.
I was living a double life where I was a professional in my work in corrections and addictions counseling, and all the while at home I was experiencing domestic violence and abuse.
Now this is, you're a mom of 3 fabulous boys, and at the time, I mean, obviously when you talk about that double life and the irony that you were a counselor, you saw the signs. Yes. Did you see your own signs? There is your beautiful boys. We're showing a picture of your beautiful family. But did you know yourself that you were in a situation? What were the signs that said to you, I need help here?
You know, I didn't all along know that I was in a relationship that was abusive. There were many signs. But because I was in this constant state of crisis all the time, I didn't realize the situation I was in until I noticed it in my children and the effects it was having on my children. And I was becoming very sick in my mind and my body, and it just was snowballing until I noticed my children.
May I ask you just to go back to yourself for a moment, because I think a lot of people don't know the signs. And now stepping out of it, what do you see were the signs happening at that time?
The signs were that I was getting very unhealthy and I was becoming very sick. The point is not to look to the abuser, it's to look to yourself and what you're doing to keep yourself in the cycle of abuse. And my mind was in denial about things, and I would make excuses to myself and other people, and I became aware when I just couldn't take it anymore. I was just in crisis all the time.
And you talk about your children being the catalyst, actually. You saw them seeing you, and very often children are a mirror of ourselves. Were you worried for them? Did you begin to worry? Did your fear for yourself transfer onto them and worry for their safety?
I was worried for what kind of children they would become when they were older and adults. I could see them starting to mirror him and his behavior, and they were concerned, and I was lying to my children. So they would see things that didn't match up. So, what's wrong, Mommy? Nothing's wrong. Well, obviously, they know better. And then they behaved just like him.
Now here's the big question, Lisa, because this is where,
okay.
Well, I mean, a lot of women right now, or I hope not that many, but perhaps 1 or 2 are watching going, okay, so how did you change? Talk about making that first step. How did you do this?
That's exactly why I wrote my book. I started making arrangements before I even left. I started building evidence. I got life insurance. I made sure guardianship was put in place so that if something happened to me, my children would be okay. And that's what made my mind okay to leave. Because if they were okay, I was okay with whatever was to come for me.
It is that. I mean, it's that simple, and it's a huge step to make. It sounds like you put things in place. It's almost like you very methodically planned a departure, so that took the emotion out of it, and you just had action to follow through with. You've written this incredible book, and I really do encourage everybody to, if you're in a situation or not, because people are friends of people who know they need help, and sometimes we can be the catalyst for change. But I know that you decided to write the book. There's some family members that weren't yet aware that this situation was happening until they read the book. Is that right?
Absolutely, they did. There was, up until 18 months ago when I decided and I was prompted to write the book, nobody knew my story. Maybe 3 people in the whole wide world knew my story, because I thought it was shameful and something that had to be put in my past. And 2 women in the hometown that I was in Airdrie, died 2 months apart. And when the first one died, I felt relieved that that could have been me, and it wasn't. And when the second one died 2.5 months later, I was angry. I knew then that I had to do something, so I shut everything I had going on down to write this book. And this book targets 3 groups of people out there right now. The first section is about for those who are still in abusive relationships, what to do before you even leave so that you can successfully stay left. The second section is about when you actually leave and you may find yourself in a shelter and how to start rebuilding your life. And the last section is about how to stay broken from that cycle and how to never go back again and the healing process through that. And the people who need this book won't come looking for it. We need to get it out there by gifting it or donating the book, because people like frontline workers, the social workers, the police officers that are coming to the door and leaving a book as they're taking the abuser out of the house, the social workers, the churches, the chaplains, the pastors, they all need this book in their hands so that they're leaving them with the people who need the help.
I don't think a truer, that is an amazing sentence. The people who need the book will not come find the book. So we have to help give them the book. Lisa, you have no idea. Your strength, I think, is going to give other women strength and courage. You're an amazing woman. And I cannot say thank you enough for sharing your story with us this morning. Honestly, it's an honor. It's an incredible read, and I will certainly do what I can to get that book to as many hands as needed. Thank you so much for telling your story, and we'll be right back after this. Lisa, have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much.